Hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Great Expectations.
As.
Ah.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. Chapter 13, Sec. 1. It was a trial to my feelings. On the next day but one, to see Joe arraying himself in his Sunday clothes to accompany me to Miss Havisham's. However, as he thought his court suit necessary to the occasion, working dress, there are though, because I knew he made himself so dreadfully uncomfortable, entirely on my account, and that it was for me he pulled up his shirt collar so very high behind. Tuft of feathers. At breakfast time my sister declared her intention of going to town with us. Find that is a way of putting the case, from which Joe appeared inclined to augur the worst. The forge was shut up for the day. On the very rare occasions when he was not at work, the monosyllable out had taken. We walked to town, my sister leading the way in a very large beaver bonnet, and carrying a basket like the great seal of England in plaited straw, a pair of pattens, a spare shawl, and an umbrella. Though it was a fine bright day, I am not quite clear whether these articles were carried penitentially or ostentatiously. Whether a sovereign lady on the rampage might exhibit her wealth in a pageant or procession. When we came to Pumbecook's, my sister bounced in and left us. As it was almost noon, Joe and I held straight on to Miss Havisham's house. Estelle opened the gate as usual, and then, the moment she appeared, and a quarter of an ounce, Estella took no notice of either of us, but led us the way that I knew so well. I followed next to her, and Joe came last. When I looked back at Joe in the long passage, he was still weighing his hat with the greatest care, and was coming after us in long strides on the tips of his toes. Estella told me we were both to go in, so I took Joe by the gold cuff and conducted him into Miss Havisham's presence. She was seated at her dressing table, and looked round at us immediately. "Oh," said she to Joe, "some extraordinary bird," standing as he did speechless, with his tuft of feathers ruffled, and his mouth open as if he wanted a worm. "You are the husband," repeated Miss Havisham. It was very aggravating, but throughout the interview, Joe persisted in addressing me instead of Miss Havisham, which I mean to say, Joe now observed in a manner that was at once expressive of forcible argumentation, strict confidence, and great politeness. "As I have been married your sister," well said Miss Havisham, "and you have reared the boy, with the intention of taking him for your apprentice. Is that so?" "Mister, you know," Pip replied Joe, "as you and me were ever friends, and it well looked visited betwixt us, as being calculated to lead to larks, not but what, in, and set, was such like not but what they would have been attended to." "Has the boy," said Miss Havisham, "ever made any objection?" which it is woe back unto yourself. Pip returned Joe, strengthening his former mixture of argumentation, confidence, and politeness, upon him that he would adapt his epitaph to the occasion. Before he went on to say, and there were no objection on your part, ought to speak to Miss Havisham. The more I made faces and gestures to do it, the more confidential, argumentative, and polite he persisted in being to me. Have you brought his indentures with you? Asked Miss Havisham. Well, in. You know, replied Joe, as if that were a little unreasonable. You also see me put him in my hat, and therefore you know they are here, with which he took them out, and gave them, not to Miss Havisham, but to me. Of them when I saw that I still stood at the back of Miss Havisham's chair, and that her eyes laughed mischievously. I took the indentures out of his hand and gave them to Miss Havisham. You expected, said Miss Havisham, as she looked them over. Sure, I remonstrated, but he made no reply at all. They returned Joe, cutting me short as if he were hurt, which I meant to say that were not a question requiring an answer betwixt yourself and me, and which you know the answer to be full well now. You know it to be no. In. I had thought possible, seeing what he was there, and took up a little bag from the table beside her. It has earned a premium here, she said. And here it is. There are 25 guineas in this bag. Give it to your master. By her strange figure in the strange room, Joe, even at this pass, persisted in addressing me. This is really on your part. It did, Joe, and it is as such received in grateful welcome, though never looked for, far nor near, nor no hers. And now, old chap, said Joe, conveying to me a sensation, first of burning and then of freezing, for I felt as if that familiar expression were applied to Miss Havisham now. Old chap, may we do our duty? May you and me do our duty, both on us, by one and another. Joe showed that he felt he had fallen into frightful difficulties, until he triumphantly rescued himself with the words, for him that he said them twice. Goodbye. Said Miss Havisham. Let them out. Am I to come again? Miss Havisham, I asked. Oh. Gargery is your master now. Gargery. This calling him back as I went out of the door. I heard her say to Joe in a distinct emphatic voice, the boy has been a good boy here, and that is his reward. Of course, as an honest man. How Joe got out of the room, I have never been able to determine. Of coming down, in another minute we were outside the gate, and it was locked, and Estella was gone. When we stood in the daylight alone again, Joe backed up against the wall and said to me, astonishing, and there he remained so long, saying, astonishing at intervals, so often, Dad began to think his senses were never coming back. At length he pawned his remark into Pip. "Do assure you this is astonishing." And so, by degrees, became conversational and able to walk away. Passed through. And that on our way to Pimlico he invented a subtle and deep design. My reason is to be found in what a place in Mr. Pimlico's parlour. Well, are representing ourselves. My sister sat in conference with that detested seaman. "Well," cried my sister, addressing us both at once. "And what's happened to you? I wonder you condescend to come back to such poor society as this." "Miss Havisham," said Joe. To be continued.